Hi, it's me, Rick. I'm the team leader for FTC Team 16021 Technomaniacs. The inspiration for starting an FTC team was my interest in Legos. I started with the X-Wing set that I really wanted, and my parents bought it for me. I quickly opened it when I got home, and I assembled it very swiftly, and my parents noticed that I did it pretty fast for my age. They realized that I loved making things and also I'm good at it. So they it, told me to keep trying hard and they kept pushing me to do more accomplishments and kept on making sure that I was getting what I needed to use my talent. We kept on incrementing the difficulty of the Lego sets, and eventually I started doing advanced Lego technique sets like the Porsche 911 and things of that nature. I loved that, and I had lots of inspiration from my parents. My dad was an engineer, and I used to watch him do lots of woodwork and things of that nature in the garage, and I loved how you can build things with just materials like wood and steel and screws. It always astonished me. Uh, by by that time, my brother started doing FTC, and I found out later that there's a competition called FLL, but I was sadly not able to participate for FLL. Eventually, when I was able to participate for FLL, I my parents thought of just putting me in FTC for 1 year, and my friends and I could practice for a bit. I asked a few of my friends if they wanted to do FTC, and some of them said yes. My parents started forming a schedule, and we started meeting in the summer of 6th grade, and we started building and copying robots from YouTube. It was a very fun experience, and I loved it a lot. And we in last year in Skystone, we were in 7th grade, and we that was our first experience in the actual engineering design process, and it was very fun. And I I hope to achieve something great this year.
Hello, my name is Madhav Gersh. I am the software head at the team Technomaniacs. And I'm going to start with my inspiration. My parents were both software engineers, and I've always liked putting stuff together from a young age. Also, coding has also been very intriguing from a young age as well. And seeing my brother try all these different tech challenges like FLL and FRC, I really wanted to be part of a team myself and accomplish all these hard tasks I've seen him been doing. When my friend Rick asked me to do FTC to join his team, I immediately said yes. I had prior experience in FLL and all these kinds of robotic challenges because my brother was in one, and also I was in a small little group of little kids to introduce us to FLL, and it really sparked my interest for mechanical engineering as a child. I was very compelled to join and was thinking about joining an FTC group before he even asked. And I was very ecstatic to work with my friends to achieve many things. I asked my parents and they were fully supportive, and I ended up joining in the 6th grade. Very early in FTC, we wanted to learn about Java and code and how to do general mechanical engineering. We learned a ton, and we first drafted a ton of robots and kept scrapping them over and over again, which is very frustrating, yes, but it was very much worth the time and effort because we learned a bunch about different strategies and how we wanted to differently model our robot. I've also had an interest for software. That's why over hardware in general, because that's why I really wanted to be the software head, because I really had an interest for software and the idea of software engineering. And multiple times within my life, I've tried to learn software engineering, but never had taken the initiative to really learn coding. So when I started FTC, I really tried, and I really stuck to learning, which I knew would benefit me later in life, and it was very interesting as well. And I'm very interested how my team will go in the future, and I'm sure we'll improve better later on.
Building things is something I've always loved to do. Whether that was building a video game electronically or it was like building a big Lego set. So when the time came that one of my closest friends asked me to build robots with him and something I've never heard of, something called FTC, I said yes. And now FTC was like the start of my love for engineering, and soon I loved how I could code Java and prototype cool robot designs and functions. Today, FTC is one of the biggest things in my life and has made me like coding websites and video games and continued building model ships and board games.
Hello, I'm Aryan. I'm the engineering head at 16021 Technomaniacs, and so my inspiration for doing FTC is, so I've always liked mechanical engineering. It's something I've wanted to do for a while, and robotics has always intrigued me. It's a very interesting subject because I always saw big companies and universities showcasing all their new robotic achievements, and those kind of surprised me because I didn't think that was possible by humans at that time. But little did I know, robotics is very key to our future. So, and like after seeing those, I always thought I want to be like those guys. So FTC was my opportunity to do something I've always dreamed of, and also a portal into my future.
Hello, it's Rick again. I just want to talk about my experience through the 6th to 7th grade experience. In 6th grade, we worked on Rover Ruckus. We didn't actually participate in it. We just tinkered around and fixed some parts together and just played around with the pieces, really. That's all we did. And 7th grade is where our journey started. We started with we started Skystem. That was the season in 7th grade. And it was very, very interesting. Since before the event, I looked through every single event ever, and it was very unique compared to those. Usually it's like a block and a ball challenge or something of that sort, but this was very different. So we got pretty excited for this one, and it looked a lot like Legos, and I like Legos, so I liked that feature. So we went to the kickoff, and it was very helpful. Lots of teams helped us out, and one of the most helpful teams was Team 4029, 2 bits a byte, and they recommended the Global Stratford chassis kit, which we use today, and it is very, very helpful as it has the side-to-side motions, and it's just a very sturdy and slim chassis where you can build things on. It was very useful and helpful for our year of building, and we still keep in contact, and if we need any help, we ask them, and they're very helpful. And so when we started the season, my dad helped us organize everything and take in all the information from the teaser and from the trailer and organize it on a 2 big pieces of paper so we know what we're doing, and we can like group things together, and we can like pitch designs more easily, and it helped us a lot and saved so many minutes and hours of our time. So we thought about the main components, and we did that, and we realized that the intakes were not strong enough once we went to the first scrimmage, and we really did have a lot of failures in our scrimmage, but it was very helpful to note those failures so in the actual competition we didn't fail. We used the scrimmage and stress tested all parts of our robot. we realized that our linear slide was a little bit too high. Even though it would clear the bridge, it was sometimes hitting it. So we decided to make the robot a little bit smaller, replace some servos out for motors, add a more robust system, and all of those things. We also added chain mechanism so we can use one motor for 2 wheels in the intake system, and it was very helpful. This was also the time when I got my 3D printer, so we used that a lot to make 3D models to hold all the pieces together, and it was very helpful. And we also used it for our linear slides and many other things. We slowly worked on a robot and then went to the first competition. We did all right in that one, and it was a good experience because it was our first actual competition, and we found out what it was like. In the second one, we had lots of technical difficulties in the first few rounds, but at the end, we beat the second place team, but overall, we were placed 16th.
In our first year, we started by talking about the robot and introducing us to coding. We followed many guides and watched a ton of videos, and eventually we watched the Skystone video, and we talked about the possible points and what the different mechanisms we could incorporate into our robot in order to make our robot get the most possible points. We took large quantities of time and weeks to perfecting a model when we were introduced to the Go Builder chassis. We quickly bought it and got to work, trying to model the basic Go Builder Strafer chassis. Then we modeled it on paper and several times and tried many mechanisms and drew them on paper to see which would get the most points. We ended up using compliant wheels as the intake mechanism and linear slide and 2 linear slides to place blocks. We also had a claw that was powered by a servo, and along with that we used Vuforia as video recognition. We worked very hard, and eventually we started with the first competition. We tried our best and worked very hard, fixing mistakes here and there that kept coming up, and made progress in the first competition. And then came the second competition, and we improved, and we tried our hardest to do whatever we can to coordinate with each other. And after we finished the first and second, we tried our best, but we didn't manage to get into the top robots. And we talked a lot after the competitions on how we could do better and coordinate with one another better.
So I'll be talking about the 6th to 7th grade season and how it went for us. So it was it had a rocky start because we didn't get the Go Build Mechanism chassis when we wanted it. So we had to build a chassis out of Rev extrusions to mimic the Go Builder chassis. And we used that to kind of as a basis to build components so that we would be somewhat ready once the chassis came. And so the chassis did come eventually. And we started speeding up and getting things done faster, it was late, but we tried to compensate most of the time using what we could, and going faster and things like that. And so a highlight of the season for me personally was during one of the competitions. Was when we beat one of the top teams in the tournament in the area we were in without our partner, but unfortunately overall we didn't do as well as we expected.
7th grade was a memorable experience for me in FTC. It was the first year that I did FTC. It was the Skystone season where robots had to stack giant bricks on top of each other. I loved how we had to innovate and come up with new ideas to solve problems, and that how you implemented your ideas mattered. I got the experience of prototyping and designing a robot, coding it, and going to scrimmages and competitions.
Thanks for your interest in our team. You can contact us at technomaniacs@gmail.com.